Blue Magic. That's a brand name. Like Pepsi. That's a brand name.
Who was Frank Lucas, the biggest heroin smuggler from Harlem? His project, Blue Magic, and played by Denzel Washington in American Gangster. Born on September 9, 1930 in La Grange, North Carolina, Frank Lucas had a rough start to life. He grew up poor and spent a lot of time looking after his siblings, and living in the Jim Crow South took a toll on him. According to Lucas, he was first inspired to enter a life of crime after he witnessed Ku Klux Klan members murder his 12-year-old cousin when he was just 6-year-old. Lucas reportedly fled to New York in 1946 after beating up his former boss at the pipe company and robbing him of $400, and he quickly realized there was much more money to be made in the Big Apple, from robbing local bars at gunpoint to swiping diamonds from jewelry stores. He slowly became bolder and bolder with his crimes. He eventually caught the eye of drug trafficker Alfred Bumpy Johnson, who acted as a mentor of sorts to Lucas and taught him everything he knew. While Lucas took Johnson's teaching to the next level with his crime organization, there thanks to his deadly brand of imported heroin known as Blue Magic, Frank Lucas had probably destroyed more lives than the KKK could ever dream of. Prosecutor Richie Roberts told the New York Times in 2007 how Frank Lucas supposedly got his hands on this Blue Magic is perhaps the wildest detail of all. He smuggled 98% pure heroin into the United States by using the coffins of dead soldiers coming home from Vietnam. With help from former U.S. Army Sergeant Lefty Atkinson, who had just so happened to be married to one of his cousins. Lucas claimed to have smuggled more than $50 million worth of heroin in the US. He said 100,000 of that was on a plane carrying Henry Kissinger, and that to be one point dressed up as a lieutenant colonel to the aid in the operation. How Lucas managed to get his hands on the Blue Magic might have been a fabrication, but no denying that it made him a rich man. I wanted to be rich, I wanted to be Donald Trump rich, and so help me God, I made it. He claimed to making $1 million a day at one point, but that too was later discovered. In any case, he was still determined to show off his newly acquired wealth, so in 1971 he decided to wear a $100,000 full-length chinchilla coat at the Muhammad Ali boxing match, but as later he wrote, it was a massive mistake. Apparently, Lucas' coat caught the eye of law enforcement, who were surprised that he had better seats than Diana Ross and Frank Sinatra. As Lucas put it, I left that fight a marked man. So regardless of how much money he was actually making, Lucas didn't get the joy of the fruits of his labor for very long. After supposedly hobnobbing with some of New York's wealthiest and most famous folks in the early 1970s, the famously fur-clad Frank Lucas was arrested in 1975, thanks in part to Robert's efforts and mafia snitching. The drug lord's assets were seized, including $584,000 in cash, and was sentenced to 70 years in prison. Lucas later bristled at such low count of cash money and accused the DEA of stealing from him. 584,000, what's that? Superfly boasted in Las Vegas, I lost 500 G's in a half hour playing Baccarat with a green girl. Later, Superfly would tell a Vision interviewer that the figure was actually $20 million with the time. The story has kept getting longer like Pinocchio's nose. Lucas likely would have been in prison for the rest of his life if he didn't become a government informant, enter the witness protection program, and ultimately help the DA nab more than 100 drug-related convictions on a relatively minor setback aside, a 7-year sentence for attempted drug deal in his post-informant life. He went on parole in 1991. Overall, Lucas managed to get through everything relatively unscathed and reportedly enriched. Unlike other famous gangsters, Frank Lucas didn't go out in blaze of glory. He died in 2019 at the age of 88 in New Jersey. His nephew would confirm his death to the press, said that he died of natural causes.